Good afternoon, is everyone feeling good? So, I'm going to introduce you. My name is Fabian, I'm the co-organiser of March for Europe. Can I just have a massive cheer to all you lovely people for coming today? I'm introducing you to Ben De Veer. He has yellow sunglasses, and this is his name here. Come and say hello.
Hi everybody. Can I have a massive cheer for everyone who turned up? A massive cheer for all the people that wanted to turn up but couldn't. And also, can we just recognise that it isn't just us in London? London gets a lot of stick for, making loads of noise. But today we are also joined by our friends up in Edinburgh. So can we have a huge round of applause for the people? Edinburgh didn't want this shit either. Let's have a huge round of applause for Scotland generally. Yeah. And please, Scotland, if you're listening, don't leave. Can we also have a huge round of applause for Cardiff, who are also marching in solidarity with us today? The people who organised the march in Cardiff are called Students for the EU, and at first glance we assumed they were university students, but it turns out that they're secondary school students who didn't even have a chance to get their voices heard. So can we have a round of applause for them? Also Birmingham, one of the most multicultural cities in the country. Can we have a huge round of applause for Birmingham, who are also marching today? We would also like to say thank you to the brains of Britain, Oxford and Cambridge. Give it up for them. Who rely on a huge amount of international programmes and who are absolutely not up for this shit either. So a huge round of applause for that. And of course, who could forget Bristol? Bristol, one of the biggest marches in the country today. Bristol, who are always up for it and are absolutely brilliant. So give it up for Bristol. Our first speaker needs no introduction, but he's going to get two. Because at the moment he's making a statement because someone threw a punch at him. So let's give a big boo for that. So we're going to have the first of many rounds of applause for Eddie Izzard. So let's just give it up for that. Eddie Izzard. We will be here. We are going to entertain you with some music. But do not go anywhere, you've got nowhere to go, right? No, you're going to be here for a while, right? Yeah. And you're going to give everyone a huge round of applause and support, right? Yeah. So can we have another huge round of applause for all the people marching in solidarity with us across the country? Last but not least, all the people in Europe who are listening.
Thank you, Ben. So we're just going to introduce you to George Nelson, our resident EU DJ. He's come all the way from Hackney, I think. But he's very European. And the first song is going to be a little letter to Theresa May, Maggie May. And also just to let you know that the march is going all the way through to Piccadilly, beyond to Marble Arch, and all the way to Ealing. Thanks.
So, what's going to happen is we're going to play a couple of movies, and then we're going to crack on with some amazing speakers and poets and cool stuff. So how does that sound? Let's hear it for cool stuff! Okay, so the first message is from a lovely man by the name of Jarvis Cocker. Hooray! Who is so pro what we're doing that he has sent it all the way from Paris. So, can we have a round of applause for him? And a round of applause for you? And a round of applause for this.
I kind of got the wrong idea about this when I thought it was March to Europe rather than March for Europe. I've got very aching feet. I've marched all the way to this recording studio here in Paris to meet my friend Chili Gonzalez, just to prove we are in Paris. Look, there's some French furniture polish, and we just want to tell you a couple of things, right? Just point out some facts. Let me show you a map. When people say UK out of Europe, let me just show you on this map. Look, there's the world, and here's Europe, and look where the UK is. I don't know if you can see on this map. It's here. So I don't really understand how this works. It's in Europe. It's there. How can you take it out? Basically, what we're saying to you is you cannot deny geography. Britain is in Europe. I want you to repeat that with me now.
It's not true.
They do say we're all in together, yeah?
Yeah. Well, we give ourselves a 10% rise.
After an election or a referendum, even if you lose the vote, you are entitled to go on making the argument.
Global markets continue to be on the slide in the wake of the Brexit vote.
Pound has cratered, falling to its lowest level in over 30 years.
£350 million a week we send to the EU. Can you guarantee that's going to go to the NHS?
No, I can't.
The next Conservative manifesto will promise to scrap the Human Rights Act.
This will be a victory for real people.
Throwing this racist narrative out, though it's about racism, it's about class division.
And that was based on people being told this would not happen. You know, do not worry. All the people that put their cross down for leave saying this is what we want, they seem to be getting a group of people who say we can't stop immigration, we can't get 350 million. Oh, and by the way, there might be quite a lot of austerity.
In business, if you realise you made a bad decision, you change it. Now we're not just saying overrule it. We're saying, you know, let those same people that voted have another chance.
We cannot aim at anything less than the union of Europe as a whole. And we look forward with confidence to the day when that union will be achieved.
They organised a protest to call went out on social media just a few days ago. Astonishing moment in history.
Standing before the Brandenburg Gate, every man is a German, separated from his fellow men.
Les manifestations en faveur de la démocratie n'ont jamais été
that we can all, as one house, vote in favour of denouncing homophobia.
There's the handshake we've all been waiting for, Mr. Fag and Mr. Cosette.
Look at this. It's been a long few weeks. I don't know about you, I feel aged. I look at least 16 now. No, but it's been weeks where many of you will have faced and felt fear and trepidation about the future we all love. But when I look at a crowd like this, united with optimism and determination and resilience, I know this country has a future, and my word, it is a future worth fighting for. And however we voted, all of us are part of building that future, and that's what this is all about. Now, friends, there are some myths thrown at this rally by our opponents, and they're worth just taking on. They're telling us that we're attacking people who voted Leave, millions of decent people in this country who did so. But that's just not true. Instead, we're taking on the politicians who led the Leave campaign, who based their entire campaign on lies and stirring up bigotry in this country. Those are the people we're taking on. Those are the people. How dare they? How dare they? £350 million extra a week for our National Health Service. 350 million. And now we know, not only was that figure a lie, a sham, as we all knew at the time, but the NHS now faces cuts, as the reports have shown, over the next coming years. It was a lie. And then, immigration. You know what? We should have a sensible, national, rational conversation about immigration. But that's not what we were offered in that campaign. Portraying foreigners as criminals and murderers and terrorists and rapists. Lying about Turkey joining the European Union, which is not going to happen in the lifetime of anybody in this crowd. That we would be swamped with Turkish criminals. How dare they? And actions have consequences. We know what those consequences are. A rise in racism and xenophobia. People abused on the streets, a surge in hate crimes. So one of the most important things we all have to do now is tell people in this country, whether they're from a different background, a different country, that we will stand against the tide of xenophobia and racism that those politicians stirred up, and we will defeat that racism and xenophobia. We will drive it from our streets, we will drive it from our country, and the xenophobes and the racists will lose like they lost every single time in the past. That's what we all have to do, all of us. Now, and on immigration, look, I'm from Stockport that narrowly voted to remain, but the bar of Stockport where I'm from voted to leave. And there are many problems where I grew up, but very few immigrants. There was a lack of affordable housing, a lack of secure jobs, wages stagnating or falling, public services under attack. It wasn't immigrants like Polish care workers and Indian doctors and Spanish nurses who caused those problems. It's the politicians who didn't build the housing. It's the politicians who didn't defend the jobs. It's the politicians who didn't defend living standards. And it's the politicians who cut our services. They're the ones to blame, not immigrants who keep this country ticking day after day after day. And finally, here's the other attack we have, that we are petulant children throwing our toys out the pram because we didn't get what we wanted. But friends, nothing could be further from the truth. We're told all the time, now Brexit means Brexit. But here's the thing, we don't know what that means, and more worryingly, neither do they. They don't even have the faintest clue, not one, about the future of this country. And it is up to us, however we voted, the millions who voted to remain or leave, we all have a stake in this future. And all of us should be consulted about what our relationship with Europe is in the future. Every single one of us counts. You don't have an election where, in a general election, where one party wins, then the opposition goes, oh, we lost, so we'll just shut up now for the next 5 years. We'll pack up shop, we'll support what they do. That's not what democracy is. Democracy is about freedom of expression. And all of us are exercising the freedom of expression our ancestors fought for at such cost and such sacrifice. So friends, to wrap up, millions voted to leave partly as anger and frustration at a society that is unjust. We didn't like the protest against it, but it still stands that this is an unjust country, brimming with anger and resentment. And it is a country, above all else, that needs one thing and one thing more than anything else: hope. Hope that we can build a different sort of society, a just society, an equal society, a fair society, not as a society where we blame immigrants for all the problems, but where we hold the powerful to account. So in the coming months and in the coming years, all of us have that responsibility to go out into our communities, to the people who don't turn up to demonstrations like this, in that proud tradition of our ancestors, like the people who fought for workers' rights, like the people who fought for the rights of women to vote, the people who fought for the welfare state and the National Health Service. We stand on the shoulders of giants. Everything we've ever won in this country, our rights and freedoms, not given to us by the powerful, but fought for by people like you, marching in the streets and making your voice heard. So let's have that determination, let's have that courage, let's have that resilience, and let's build a different country run in the interests of the majority. Thank you.
London, what a beautiful European city you are. Now you're going to have to wait a bit for the science, because I want to talk about culture first. This country is in Europe, but Europe is also in this country. It is in our blood. We are built from it. British and British culture culture is not threatened by the outside world. This is how we've built ourselves. Fish and chips, brought here by immigrants. Jewish immigrants brought in fried fish from Portugal and Spain in the 17th century. Round about the same time, chips came across from France and Belgium, hence French fries, and they had a beautiful fusion here. Our cup of tea, well, that comes from China. The sugar in it, Arabs brought that to Western Europe. Our queen, well, of German lineage, her husband from Dutch and Greek royal families. And our language, our very language, was old Germanic until those Scandinavians that settled in northern France, called the Normans, brought that across to our country, and that is a fusion, that is English. There is nothing more European than the English language. That's us, that's who we are, that's how we move forward. Europe is our neighbourhood. Now what about the EU? The EU is the glue. We want to work with our neighbours, and the EU is the glue whereby we do that. Not just our governments, but our citizens, our peoples coming together to make decisions through the European Parliament. Whether it's dodgy trade deals or environmental protection or workers' rights, this is how we work together. The EU is not some cartoon dictator. The EU is our team. It's our neighbourhood team. And it works. It works. And the best example of it working in recent years has been science. Now science solves our problems in health, in energy, in environment, and it also drives our economy. Look at America. Over 50% of America's growth since World War II has been driven by science and technology. But the EU produces 34% more science than the US, and the gap has been growing. We have more researchers than does America, and the gap has been growing. And a lot of this is European level investment bringing us all added value. You see, when we have teamwork and we share in infrastructure, in funding, in policy, in free movement of people, that's when we get the added value. 40% more impact from international research than domestic only. That is proof. Quite nice. So we have to find what the EU is about. So as we move forward to the future, it is all about teamwork and collaboration. Look, beyond this grey sky, there are 10 times more stars than all the grains of sand on every beach in the world and every desert in the world put together. I want humanity to get out there. I want us to fix our problems on this planet, take care of everyone and our environment, and get out there. And it's not going to be done by cynicism and nationalism. At the end of World War II, our countries realized that the future of humanity itself lies in taking care of everyone and working together. It was visionary then, and it is visionary still. So let's hear it for the EU.
Good afternoon to people in London and the cities around the United Kingdom. Good afternoon to Europe. Good afternoon to the world. I'm slightly positive about Europe, as you may know in my life. But we've done it. We had this march. We've come out, and we were just marching down here. I just had a fight. These guys, they came up with a banner, they were blocking the march, it said Brexit something or other, and they were masked, they had those skull teeth across the mask, and so I just went up and said this is the face of Brexit, and I wasn't happy about it, and masked and dangerous, and the guy grabbed my hat. He ran off with it. So it's my beret. It's got 2 flags on, as you can see, as my nails have. I am proud of being British. I'm proud of being European. I will always be proud of being both British and European. No matter what happens, I will still continue to my dying breath be proud of being British and proud of being European. The continent's not going anywhere. There's no motorboat thing. There's no outboard motor on the back of the UK. We're going to zoom off somewhere to the Azores. We're staying right here. We still have to work with our cousins across the water. And it's our continent. It's our continent. It's ours to work, to play in. They might, whatever happens in this Brexit thing, I know there have now been 2 referendums on the thing. There's the first one, which was, we won a 60, I don't know, a 2/3 majority. This one that was very close, and so, you know, and I obviously understand, you know, Theresa May says Brexit means Brexit, which means what? Albania or Norway, or are we Canada, or are we Greenland? I'm not sure what they're going to be. So she doesn't actually know what it is yet. I understand. She's in a tough position. But what I want to say is, one, I'm very pleased to get my helmet back. The guy stole my helmet and he just marched off, this guy, because I was there trying to get him out of the way. He nicked my helmet and ran off. Well, he sort of marched off, so I went and jumped him and got it back. But no, I didn't, because then he moved off, and the police, it was the police that came steaming in, and this was not, they didn't take political sides, it was just someone was stealing a hat. And I want to thank the police, they've been brilliant. Sergeant Morris, the team, anyone, the guys, the inspector and the other officer who came in, they were just in there and we were just locking it down. I wasn't trying to do ill to him, but he nicked my hat, and I don't want my hat nicked. So I would have followed him everywhere till I got my hat back, because it's my friggin' hat. And it has 2 badges on. People used to look at me and they'd say, are you confused? No, I'm both, baby. We can be both. We can be positive about being both. And no matter what happens, this is just a moment. This is just a chapter. This is not the end. This is the beginning of the next chapter, because there's the rest of eternity to go. This is just not now. The idea that we're just going to, not the British way. It was never the British way to run and hide. We didn't run and hide in the 30s. Churchill didn't run and hide. We're not for run and hiding. So I know there's been a referendum. I know there's been a vote. Nigel Farage said if it's 48-52, you have to keep fighting. Okay, Farage rules. We got to keep fighting. We keep fighting. That's what he's now hanging out with Donald Trump, who is barking.